Welcome to Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast, your podcast dedicated to all things Animal Crossing. Episode 125 is brought to you by Cat Miria, one of our newest Patreon patrons. This week, Sergio and I will be talking a bit about the new Haken artwork, the Bunny Day event, some seasonal events, and giving you a lot of tips and tricks while playing Animal Crossing New Horizons. So to begin, hello Sergio, how you doing?
Hello, Chewy. I'm still doing rather amazing with this wonderful game that we finally have.
I know.
It's been so good.
Yes, I was about to say the exact same thing. It's been really great. I've been having a really good time with it. I did want to do, I want to do this check-in since we're, speaking on a weekly basis, but how many hours have you played so far?
I think I am now around 170.
Oh, nice. I haven't okay, I'm turning on my Switch for a second to check, but last I checked, I was at 100. Like I just hit 100 hours. And now I'll let my profile load. Well, so it can tell me. But yeah, I mean, it's been fun. It's like our first event, kind of. Well, it's our first event for the game officially, and the season's changed and things. It's a new month, which means there's a whole slew of new things going on.
Yes.
So it's been a really interesting 5 days now since it's April 5th at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, one thing, I talked to Baidu Crossing, and they mentioned that they were kind of bummed that there wasn't any, letter during April Fools or anything, no sign of Blanca, and I guess how did you feel about that?
Oh, that's true. I mean, I guess we're kind of getting used to the things that are missing from the game at this point. And honestly, I forgot. I feel like maybe some of us are forgetting about a couple of things because there's so many new things and it's the new game. We're getting used to what's here. But I think eventually every year we're going to start getting new things added via updates, and we're going to start remembering and realizing, yeah, this was missing, but now it's here.
Yeah, I mean, it is a weird situation that we're in where it doesn't quite have everything that we had even in New Leaf,
Yeah.
Let alone some of the older games where, one of the key characters like Brewster, Pelly and Pete and Phyllis and some characters that have been staples of the series for a very long time at this point, that are just they're not in it, and mostly we only know because people have dug through the code and everything and taken a look at what's in the game. But we're still very early on. It's been, I think this was day 18 of us playing the game.
Oh.
If we started on Thursday.
Yes.
So yeah, it's day 18, which means it hasn't been a month yet, which is great. I love how long we're going to be able to play this game. But at the same time, we've seen this first update. We've seen the first event. The first character, essentially, that wasn't in that initial code get added. So it's a very different place that we're going to be in probably this time next year,
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I wanted to ask you, I don't think we play this much New Leaf at this point of its lifetime. At least I don't believe I did. Do you think you did?
I don't think I did.
No.
I don't think I was as glued to it as I have been. But I also don't know if it's the situation that is making it that way, or if it's just not being able to put down the game. I think it's a mix of both, though, because I'll say in the beginning, I did split my time a little bit with New Horizons and Fire Emblem. But since day 3 or 4 or something, I have not touched Fire Emblem at all because things got busy. Things got intense, But before we have too much discussion regarding the game, I do think we need to start talking about this brand new Haken artwork for April. If you are listening to this show on the podcast, you probably, sometimes the icon doesn't, what's the word I'm looking for?
Update? Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes the icon doesn't update as fast as I want it to, so I'm going to try to actually upload it tonight so people can start seeing it pop up on time. But outside of that, here people watching on YouTube, listening on YouTube. It's a weird mix, but you can watch it for a little bit and you can see this brand new Haken artwork. This was courtesy of Miranda Morales. And usually, and I say courtesy, but really I paid her. We pay for all our artwork here on Haken. So, this one, it was funny because I kind of did a call out for people just because I was like, oh man, I got really distracted. I had no artist in mind for anything, so I didn't really have anybody. And I was like, okay,
Right.
I know it's late, but can you please work on this? And so I found several people. They came to me and offered to do the piece, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to stick with one for now. I actually have somebody for May already. I've had them for a few months, but yeah, this April one was kind of a last minute one, more last minute than it usually is. But I try to give artists about a month to work on the piece. But yeah, I mean, basically, Miranda did a wonderful job with this one. All I really told her was like the setting. I was like, you know what? We've just gotten to this island. We're just getting used to this whole traveling to people's places. We've just landed, you know. I say let's go with picking Dodo Airlines as our place to start off. And I picked a couple characters. I picked Agnes and Angus, which they have very similar names.
Yeah.
But both of them are April birthdays. That's like my reasoning behind choosing the characters typically. I find a character who has a birthday within the month. But funny enough, Agnes lives in my town.
Yeah.
She was actually one of my starting villagers. So I've really enjoyed her presence. It's been really fun. Outside of that, she actually wanted to add a couple more characters. Well, a few technically, because I guess Wilbur originally wasn't going to be in the piece, but then she was like, we can't do this without him.
Yeah.
So she added him, and then she added a couple characters, Piper and Candy. Candy, you don't see her too well. She's kind of in the back, sitting at a seat waiting for her flight, you know, but she's a little mouse. And then Piper is on the left, the little bird there. I think she's cute. I like her.
Yes.
And I wish I could see Candy a little bit better.
Yeah.
But from here, she looks cute.
Yeah.
Little mouse thing going on. Though I know the mice aren't the most popular characters. Probably a lot of people's least favorites.
Oh, wow.
It tends to be those and the gorillas and hippos. People don't really like those.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, come on. The gorillas aren't bad. I like them. Yeah, so I guess, Sergio, what did you think of this one?
Oh, it's very nice, very colorful. I really like Wilbur a lot in his environment. So this piece really captures, you know, the feeling of going somewhere or getting somewhere new, like we have been in our islands. It's a really nice piece. I like all the colors, the layout of it. It's very well done.
Yeah. I also really like Wilbur. Like when I talk to him, I'm just like, I totally can hear your personality with the dialogue that you're speaking. It's so good. A lot of the new characters actually give me that. Like, I ran into both CJ and Flick thus far. Like, you know, they're the two new special characters, and they both have really, like, distinct personalities. It's very clear, like, I can hear them while I read what they're saying.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they're both really great. Have you run into them at all yet?
No, I wish. I ran into Kix, which was nice, and also
I haven't seen
Label.
Kix or Label. You're getting the opposites of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I haven't seen Kix or Label, and I have seen CJ, or Chip Jr., as I like to call him.
Yes.
And Flicks? What was I saying before?
Yeah, Flick.
Flick, yeah. I don't know why it sounded weird this time. Yeah, so I saw both of them, but I guess I did want to read a little message from Miranda because she wrote a little description of the piece, essentially. So she said, setting the scene in New Horizons, Dodo Airlines was Chewy's wonderful idea, as well as including Agnes and Angus as the main villagers. Both Agnes and Angus have fun colors, and to complement them, I decided to incorporate Piper and Candy. Also, Orville. Oh, I guess it was Orville. We kept saying Wilbur, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the other one, I think. But also, Orville was a must-have character in the airlines. With the location set and the villagers selected, I wanted to capture a different perspective of the day-to-day lives of the villagers, specifically a sneak peek of how our villagers would travel and interact inside Dodo Airlines. I wanted the atmosphere of the piece to feel like an inviting sunset. Sunsets to me represent new beginnings and comfort. To illustrate this, I used golden tones in the highlights and purple hues in the cast shadows of the environment. And yeah, like when you look at it now with that kind of perspective, you're like, oh, the lighting does feel like a sunset, you know?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the other thing I wanted to point out is the perspective itself I really like because I've been messing with like the camera a lot more than I thought I would in this game, you know?
Yeah.
Specifically, like the one thing I really like about it is that it makes thumbnails so much easier and
Oh, good
so
point.
much better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been like, before a stream, I'll go and take a quick shot of some spot, kind of dress up, get my emotion going, and then click plus, and then there it is. I've got
Yeah.
the perfect little screen cap to use as the thumbnail. And you know, just as a secret thing for everybody, I've made a top secret Twitter account that only I can see from my regular Twitter account. So I don't even like log into that one to look at it or anything.
Right.
I just it has one follower. It's myself, and then I just download the photo from there.
Nice.
But yeah, that's a little trick for anybody. Like if you want to not flood your own social medias, like just make a secret account where you put, you know, you get to pick like the specific pictures that you want for what you want to post, you know?
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a great idea.
Yeah. So anyways, Miranda did a wonderful job on this. I'm really excited to have this for April. I think it represents the game very well because I don't know if you're all like me. I know Sergio and I are playing tons with other people, visiting islands, having visitors. So we are regular Dodo Airlines flyers.
Yes.
It's been fun. It's been fun. So if you want to find Miranda, she is building a portfolio over on Instagram, and it is MMMira19. So 3 M's as in moms, and then IRA19. And that link will be in the description of this podcast. You can find it, and yeah, just give her a follow. Go support her because she's doing some really cute things. And
yes.
One of my favorite things to do, this is a little bit of a side note, but we have Nina on here quite a bit, but you know, she's an art teacher and she always talks about not just art, but like just the progression of people's skill in arts. Cause it is, you know, it's a skill that you can learn and improve and get better and everything. And one of my favorite things to do is kind of like scrolling to the beginning of an artist's feed and then just seeing how much better they get over time. It's great.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, go support Miranda. She's on Instagram. And she made us this really great piece. I'm really excited to have it for this month.
Yes.
All right, so let's get into the big stuff. Like we were talking about a little bit earlier, there are some events going on. Right now, it's Bunny Day. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, it is springtime. So for Sergio and I, Sergio and me, it's springtime. And then for autumn, it is in the Southern Hemisphere right now.
Yes.
Yeah, so Southern Hemisphere people are playing in autumn. Have you visited a Southern Hemisphere town at all yet?
Yeah, I have. I think just one. I managed to catch some rare fish and bugs. I wasn't looking for them, but they were there, so I kind of just caught them.
Okay, yeah, I remember. Okay, you got an invite. We both got an invite from a friend, and I couldn't make it. And I was like, oh, I really want to see the different seasons. Yeah, maybe next time I'll have to show up, but. Now I'm just like this far in, and I'm like, well, should I just wait for it to happen? Because it is my favorite season, and I love the anticipation of waiting, Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it yet. But what we're going to do, and we're going to need a lot of your feedback on how we approach these things, because I don't want a lot of this stuff to be kind of spoilery for a lot of you. For example, there are some people in the northern hemisphere who are like, I don't really want to go know what's going on in autumn so much. I just, I want to see it happen for myself, and vice versa. Like people in the southern hemisphere are probably thinking, I don't want to go to the northern one. But at the same time, there are a lot of people who really don't care, and they're just going back and forth to all of them anyways,
Right.
So when we do get into the spring and autumn things, we're gonna be kind of vague, not so much, mention what specific crafting materials are, specific recipes and everything. We're just gonna keep it a little vague in that topic. And I think that'll be probably the first year or so, unless, we get feedback from you guys and it's just overwhelmingly, we don't care, just tell us,
Yeah.
Then yeah, maybe Sergio will have to shut his ears, because I don't know if you know what the autumn crafting materials are yet.
No, I do not.
Okay, because I kind of just like, everything I follow on Twitter is Animal Crossing, so I'm gonna see things
Yeah.
at one point or another. So I keep up, but for me, a lot of it is like, it's not really a spoiler, because I'm like, the big part of it is actually playing it and getting
Yeah,
the stuff myself,
definitely. Yeah.
So, all right, let's get into Bunny Day, because this is the official first holiday, and this one's shared across both hemispheres. I'm pretty sure it's shared, right?
I
Yeah.
believe so, yes.
Yeah, so this one's shared. It's happening all over the world. Zipper Tea Bunny has come to our doors, and it is taking place April 1st through April 12th. And we mentioned those dates a little on the last podcast, so we're going to be like halfway through this by the time this episode is out.
Oh, yeah.
So now we've had time with this event. Like I said, Zipper Tea Bunny is visiting our islands. He has hidden eggs all over. They're in the trees, buried underground, falling from the sky, and they're even in the rivers and the rocks. So what can we do with these eggs? We can craft. And there are about, I think, 40 DIY recipes to collect and craft during this event, which is a lot
Yes,
of them.
yeah.
These recipes can be found by collecting eggs. Like if you collect enough of a type of egg, you'll just learn a recipe. And we kind of see this in the base game, too, where, when the first time you fish up a piece of trash, it's like, oh, I've got a recipe for that, And then
Yeah.
every time after that, you start learning more and more. That's at least what I've seen with it.
Yes.
And so, yeah, you can collect the crafting materials and learn them. Then you can shoot down balloons. Sometimes there'll be sky eggs, which there's so many sky eggs. I'd eat a lot of them. It's great. But sometimes it's a recipe. So, it's still kind of worth shooting them down in case you're still looking to get all of the recipes. And then you can find recipes in bottles on the beach. You'll get a nice little note from Zipper Tea Bunny that says, "I've hid this thing. Congrats on finding it." You know the deal. And then the last way, at least I've seen these ways for getting them, is that you can get told a recipe by a villager. A villager will kind of run up to you. They're screaming your name. They're like, "Wait a minute, don't ignore me. Come on." And then you talk to them and they'll teach you something. Sometimes, they're just going to teach you an emotion, which I want more of those. So please, villagers, teach me some emotions. I don't have a lot of them. I see a lot of people's lists of emotions.
Oh,
and I'm
yeah,
just like,
yeah.
what? You have a bunch of cool ones. Where's mine? So yeah, those are basically the 4 ways I've noticed to find DIY recipes. And honestly, you get them pretty quick. There are a lot of them, so they kind of had to be generous with them. I've gotten to the point where I'm getting duplicates, even though I don't have them all, and now I'm worried. I'm like, oh man, are my odds really low to get these last ones now? But I did want to talk to you about this and kind of start by asking, like, how much have you progressed with Bunny Day so far?
I think I've done pretty well. Like you said, I haven't gotten any new recipes for a while. I feel like based on the list, because you have to scroll to the recipes sometimes. I feel like I got most of them already.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because I haven't gotten any new ones. I hope that's the case. But yeah, I think I've done pretty well. I've been keeping up with the eggs. I just get them no matter what. I know they can be a little bit annoying, the sky ones especially, but yeah, it's something to pop down.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are annoyed by the fishing ones.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it is about Animal Crossing, but people just get really into fishing. I have a friend who's playing it for the first time, and he's just like all over the fishing. That's what he's all about in Animal Crossing.
Nice.
And so, you know, like a lot of people, fishing's a popular activity, and they're just like, why are there so many water eggs? There's just so many of them. And for me, I actually, funny enough, I skipped the first day of fishing entirely. I imagine a
Oh.
lot of people were like, oh, it's a new month, better get all the new fish and stuff. But for me, I was like busy with something else. I don't even know what it was. But for some reason, I didn't fish at all the first day. And then it
Mm.
wasn't until the second day that I started. And even then, I was like, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm running into like a exuberant amount of fish eggs or water eggs. I've been calling them
Right.
fish eggs because, you know, you're fishing and they're
That
eggs.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so I call them fish eggs. But you know, I got about, I want to say it was about 30% of what I caught. Which, you know, thinking back, I'm like, yeah, that is a lot of eggs, but
Yeah.
I've already used them all in the crafting recipes, is the thing.
Hmm.
So for me, I'm just like, I think I caught the right amount of fish eggs so far. But I've also caught like the new fish along the way, you know?
Oh, gotcha. Yes. Mhm.
Yeah. So I didn't notice it. I'm sure I'm gonna notice it a little bit more as these weeks progress, because you know we're only
Yes.
halfway and the event's still going on. So I want to make sure I have a nice little stockpile because I think something special. Zipper Tea Bunny's probably holding some sort of special recipe for us. You know.
Yes.
So I imagine that we have to have a supply ready for whatever that is. Um, but, you know, outside of that, I've gotten about 37 recipes. I actually counted and did the math.
Oh,
um,
nice.
and then I've nearly crafted all of them. The ones, I'll say the eggs that have slowed me down are the earth eggs. I feel,
Yes.
yeah, those are like the ones that spawn the least because, you know, they're mixed in with like, sometimes you get fossils that spawn, sometimes you get eggs. And I feel like I only get like 4 to like 7 earth eggs. If I'm
Mhm.
7, if I'm lucky, probably it's probably more like
Yeah.
5 earth eggs a day. And so, you know, some recipes are like, oh, you need 3 of every egg. And I'm just like, okay, there's half my earth eggs with one
Yeah.
thing. And then
Yeah.
others are just like, these are earth egg recipes. So you need a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that slowed me down, but you know, I think I'm only missing crafting about 4 of the recipes that I've gotten so far.
Oh, nice.
Have you crafted all of the recipes so far that you've gotten?
No, I would say about half of the recipes I got. I just put all the eggs in storage, and then one of these days, when I dedicate some time to it, I'll just craft everything I need to.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the storage because yesterday my storage filled up and I was like, "What? Already?"
Oh,
And it's definitely the egg day stuff because I'm looking at my
yes.
numbers now and I'm like, "Oh, okay. So I've probably crafted about 33 items." And on with that plus the other event that we've got going on, the seasonal stuff,
Yes.
and just the regular stuff that I'm always collecting, yeah, my storage filled up. So I expanded one more time.
Oh,
And I
nice.
was like, "Ugh, I'm doing it for the storage and for places to drop my turnips on the ground every weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Because I spent another million bells on turnips.
Oh, wow.
How much did you spend?
Not much. I think like 300,000. I was poor this weekend.
Oh yeah, yeah. I tend to just like make Sunday my okay. I'm poor for until I can sell these things.
Yeah.
I did hold on to about like 80,000 bells, and so yeah, I spent 1 million, and now they're crowding my house, and I can't wait to sell them.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. So from here, I wanted to ask you: do you even like the items that we can craft it during Bunny Day?
Honestly, no, not really. Maybe a few, but really, no. I guess I kind of like the eggshell, like the hats or caps looking
Hmm.
things. That's about it. The rest, they're like, nah, no. It's nice that they have different colors of each, but still, no, no.
Yeah, no, I get it for sure. I'm not a huge fan of the stuff either. Some of it, I will say, I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm into that. Like the wreath for me, I think that works. Like it's a very like not, I guess, distracting decoration to put up during a
Yeah.
holiday. And I mean, to be fair, like holidays are gonna have distracting decorations. It's gonna be very specific to this time, and I don't know. I might deck out a little place for the Easter festivities, mostly because it's crowding my storage right now, and
Yes.
I'm like, all right, I'll make an area that's my Easter party area. That will be where we celebrate, and then from there, I'm just going to sell it all. I might, but that said, I'm gonna hold on to a couple of the pieces because there's some that I'm like, oh, okay, that'll be something that I do want for next year when this time rolls around. But
Right.
other
Mhm.
things, I'm just like, nah, I don't need it.
I figured you would be like me and keeping one of each at least.
Nah, I don't know. It's hard because there's just not enough storage space. And so that's the hard thing. Like, I
Yeah.
normally really just want to be a hoarder, but I feel like I can't. I just feel like I can't with this game because there's already so many items. My storage is already at capacity all the time. And, you know, even the pocket space, this is an incredible amount of pocket space that we have in this game. And I'm constantly filling 3 rows of it.
Yes.
It's insane how much I have 4 spaces left in my inventory right now.
Oh,
um,
wow.
and I mean, some of it I do have to like drop off and plant flowers and things, but really, like, I spend, especially during this event with all the egg crafting materials and stuff, I just constantly have no pocket space and no storage space.
Oh,
So
boy.
yeah, I'm having trouble with it. It's hard to manage it all.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
almost feel like making my second character just to be a storehouse.
Oh.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, because I got to 10 characters on my list, and when I look at my map, it's a little uneven, and I'm just like, if I add another character, it'll be even.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But I guess I do have another question for you. Are you finding this event difficult at all?
Not really. I think it's designed, since it's the first one, I think they designed it to be very approachable. You know, the time period spans 2 full weekends, which is very nice. Everyone gets a lot of playtime throughout. Yeah, the entire span of the event. I think it's very well designed, and we're getting a lot of eggs everywhere. Maybe not the Earth eggs, but I feel like, since you're able to go on tours to get even more of all the egg types, I think it's designed to be easy for everyone since it's the first one.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't see them straying too far from this on future ones either. They might like balance out some of the spawn rates for things a little
Right.
more, just because like, there's an excess of sky eggs and fish eggs and which other ones, like the wood eggs, because you can
Oh,
always
yes.
chop
Yeah.
tons of trees around your town and get plenty of those. The hard ones to get are the rock eggs, because you have a finite number of rocks in your town. It's not like you can get
Yes.
more very easily. And then the earth eggs are the by far the hardest.
Yes.
um, so I feel you though. Like I'm not having a hard time with it. I think the resources are plentiful enough for me to do everything pretty easily outside of the earth eggs, but. I mean, that's the only thing that's keeping me from having everything. And honestly, I'm probably going to have everything tomorrow. So
Oh,
that's
nice.
going to be day 7 of this event. Day 6. Yeah, that'll be day 6 of this
Yes.
event. Halfway there, I'll have most of everything. So yeah, it's not hard. But I think it is fun. Overall, I feel, actually, here's the next question. what are your overall feelings about the very first event in Animal Crossing New Horizons? And I'll actually start just because I was going to get into it right now.
Sure.
Overall, this has made me very excited for the future events. I think this one, it was nice to get a taste of how it's going to run, how things are going to work, but I don't care for the items so much. So I think with the future ones, I'll probably care a little bit more because it's going to be items that I actually do want. Like, we already know an Earth Day event is going to come up, and I'm just like, I know that I want every single thing from Earth Day.
Yes.
I know for a fact. I don't have to question it. Earth Day is for me, but yeah, outside of that, I just feel like I haven't done too much fishing, so the fish eggs haven't bothered me too much. I have seen people who don't like it, and I get it, because there are a lot of fishing fanatics in Animal Crossing. But I also don't mind getting the extra eggs, because I spent a lot of my weekend terraforming my entire island. Not the entire thing, but a good, huge chunk of it. And it was very helpful to have the eggs on hand to just like eat them and then move a bunch of trees and stuff.
Oh, yes.
So that is the one really nifty thing about this material. It's that it's edible.
Yes.
Yeah. Because a bunch of other materials are not.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess what are your overall feelings about it?
Oh man, I think it's way better than I expected these type of events to be. I thought it was gonna be, oh, this extra little thing is going on, but it's way more than that. The villagers get into it, they start talking about the event in several ways. They all have different messages they tell you. It changes the way the Nook Mile tours work because you go there to get more of these seasonal items, you get more recipes, you get the special character involved with the event. It's very involved. I like it a lot, much better than I expected, and just like you, I'm really looking forward to the rest.
Yeah, it's going to be so fun to see all the new items that we're going to get throughout the year, because essentially those items aren't in the game either until they get updated for the events,
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's exciting to see how this is going to go. I'm hoping, I'm just hoping they balance it out a little bit more for some things. But, each one's going to be unique also. Like, we can't forget that. Like,
right.
Bunny Day works the way Bunny Day does because, obviously the inspiration is an egg hunt. So, people hide eggs. Kids go looking for them. Sometimes adults go looking for them. I would, but that's how this event's going to work. There's going to be eggs all over the place, so we're going to find them as we play. And, who knows how the next event's going to work? What would be the next one? I mean, I always forget. I guess I could look at the calendar here, but I'd have to get up. But, like Halloween, I'm sure it's going to work way different. Harvest, it's going to work way different. Toy Day, oh my goodness, it's going to work even different from both of those,
Yeah.
So there are a lot of things to look forward to. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of crafting materials, a lot of different things that we're going to be able to make. And I'm ready. I'm just ready to see it. But, we'll run in real time with you, Nintendo. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is, I warned you all, we're going to approach this a little bit more vague, but we've got some different seasons going on. For us right now, it is a cherry blossom season. For the Southern Hemisphere, they've got, I think, just an autumn season going on. So I don't know exactly what it's called. I don't know if they have a special name for it or anything, but the cherry blossoms, world famous. Anybody who's played Animal Crossing during the spring knows how special it is seeing all of the leaves turn to pink.
Yes.
So that's a really fun thing. But it's a very unique one because it doesn't last too long. A lot of people are kind of like, oh, this doesn't last through the spring. And I'm just like, no, it doesn't. It's only like a week and a half or so, maybe 2 weeks of your gameplay. So we're already like more than halfway done with this because this only runs from April 1st to April 10th here. And It's
Mhm.
the cherry blossoms are in bloom, so all the trees are pink and stuff. There are special crafting recipes as well as a new crafting material that you can find. And as far as like progress and stuff, how are you doing on this side, Sergio?
Definitely not as well as I'm doing with the Bunny Day event. I hardly have any recipes. It's a struggle because the ones I have, I crafted them right away because I like them a lot. They go very well in my park area of my island, but I want more. I need more.
Yeah, yeah. I'm the same. Like this one is definitely much trickier than the Bunny Day event.
Yeah.
I mean, the first day, I will say I was getting like whiplash because I was like, "Oh, here's this recipe. Oh, wait, here's a balloon for Bunny Day." And so like, you're constantly going back and forth going like all of these crafting things that I have to collect here for this stuff going on. Now it's mellowed out a little bit because I'm like, all right, I've stockpiled a little bit. I don't need to go as crazy. So we're pretty
Yeah.
good. Um, but yeah, no, I've only unlocked like 5 of these recipes so far, which I don't think is half. I think there was about 14 or so of these.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they're a lot. I also really like these. I like these way more than the
Yeah.
egg-based things. No competition here. um, but yeah, I love the ones I found. There's still, I've kind of like peeked at some things just because people have mentioned some, and I'm like, ooh, let me go look at that real quick. And so there are like 2 more that I'm like, I need these. I really want these recipes. So I'm hoping I find those because it's almost over. Like we're halfway through it today as we're recording.
Yes.
So there's only 5 more days left for us. 3 if you're listening to this as it's out. So you got to get on it. But it is possible. I did talk to a friend the other day and she said that she has already gotten all of the recipes for both events. So her recommendation was just shoot down all the balloons. It doesn't matter what it is, just shoot it.
Yes. Yeah.
Because that's going to be the best way to find DIY recipes for you right now.
Yes.
Um, so I guess I wanted to ask this question again. I mean, I already answered it, but do you like these items that you can craft for the event?
Oh, yes. Definitely way more than the Bunny Day
Y-
items.
Yeah, easy, easy. And then do you
Yes.
find this part more difficult than the Bunny Day stuff?
Yes, I feel like the recipes are either harder to get or, they're harder to obtain or they're rarer. So, honestly, I'm thinking the way I'm playing right now, I might miss on some of these until next year. I'm okay with that. It's a little disappointing because I like the items, but, like we have discussed,
Mm-hmm.
it's nice to have things to look forward to the next season.
Yeah, yeah, and now that you're saying that too, I'm like, oh, that makes me a little bit less tempted to try to collect them all because it'll give me something to look forward to when the
Yeah.
season rolls around again. So, yeah, I guess I'm not torn about it. Also, like, once fall rolls around in my game and I've already lived through spring here, I'm like, oh, I don't mind traveling to the southern hemisphere now because I've seen
Oh, good
this thing.
point.
So if there's something I'm
Yeah.
missing, maybe I'll just go and craft it over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are ways around it, but, at the same time, I'm just like, I don't mind waiting a year. I'm going to be playing this game for a long time.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. Cool. I guess what are your overall feelings about this, like, first big season shift in Animal Crossing?
I like it, and I like the fact that we have this special cherry blossoms event, and I even like the fact that it overlaps with Bunny Day. I like when there's a lot of new things going on at once.
Mm-hmm.
On April 1st we had all these new things to do, new fish, new bugs too. So it was very nice. I wouldn't say it was overwhelming. It was just very nice to have a lot of new things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was going crazy, going back and forth. I was like, there's just so much. There's so much to do on this April day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess for me, I think it's exactly what I was hoping for with this game. As soon as they introduced a crafting, I was thinking the seasonal crafting is going to be exciting because there's going to be new stuff to collect, new stuff to craft. And I'm just ready at this point to see more seasons. I mean, I'll wait for them, but yeah, we're going to see some really special things that we're going to be able to collect and craft during those times.
Yes.
Cool. So I wanted to make a quick mention of the Southern Hemisphere stuff. So both Sergio and I were not in the Southern Hemisphere, so we're not too familiar with it. But I do know, it's very much like the cherry blossom season right now. There are special crafting materials and special crafting recipes available during this time. So if you're playing in the Southern Hemisphere, I'm gonna assume, I don't know, I imagine it also works different because the cherry blossoms is such a short portion of the year.
Right.
Like it's only 10 days, you know? And autumn, I imagine it's probably going to last a little bit longer. So you're going to have a little bit more
Yes.
time. There's probably more to collect and craft than during the cherry blossom stuff just to like even out that time frame, you know?
Yes. Hmm.
But yeah, that's basically what I know. Southern Hemisphere stuff is going on. I do know the crafting materials because, I was just looking into it to see what's going on because I was like, oh, this is going to be a different way that we have to approach the show. Let's figure it out. So
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, we didn't mention any like specific recipes, any specific crafting materials. And we'll probably mention them around fall when this all happens, since at that point, we'll all know here in the Northern Hemisphere what the fall items are. And in the Southern Hemisphere, you'll all know the spring stuff. And, for those
Yeah.
who don't care, you're already trading back and forth for all of them. So,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah. One note that I made here before we move on to tips and tricks is I noticed that there weren't really any balloons while I had people visiting my island.
Right.
And I didn't really see any balloons when I was visiting other people's islands. And I think Nintendo is maybe limiting the availability of DIY recipes because that seems to be the main source for recipes right now, like just shooting them out of the sky. And
Hmm.
so maybe that's their way to kind of like artificially keep people from just traveling to another hemisphere and going like, okay, I've collected all my hemisphere stuff. Time to collect that stuff. Maybe they're keeping it just to like make the season a little bit more special when it finally rolls around to your side. But that
Right.
said, I don't know how much of a difference that makes because we can get duplicates of some things.
Yes.
But I don't think I've seen a duplicate recipe for any of the cherry blossom stuff that I've collected yet.
Oh, okay.
Have you noticed any duplicates?
No, it may be the case that they are actually limited, or it may just be because they're so rare.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I have no duplicates of those either.
Yeah, that said, I mean, nothing's going to stop people from cheesing it too, where they're like, well, I can just start another character and get the recipes as them and then share
Ah,
those.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, there's going to be ways around it, and then that doesn't stop the ways. Like usually, if you collect enough of a crafting material, you will learn a recipe in some
Yes.
cases. I imagine that's the case with the one that we've got right now, but I don't know. Yeah. So, anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the tips and tricks for this show. And I wrote a lot. I didn't know how many I was gonna have, and then I just kind of went crazy because like I mentioned earlier, I started terraforming, and it is amazing. I've been really impressed with it so far. I'm amazed by it, and I have a lot of tips and tricks for that specifically since I've put a lot of work into
Oh,
it at this point. But Sergio, let's kind of go back and forth. Maybe I'll start because it looks like I might have more than you. um,
yes.
so I want to start with this first one, and my first one's just like put crafting benches throughout your town. When I look back I guess I haven't watched them in a while because I'm actually playing the game, but when I think back to watching all the trailers and the direct and stuff, I remember seeing all of the crafting benches outside of like villagers' homes and outside of your own home, like they made a point to kind of show like creating a crafting space on the island.
Yes.
And I
Mhm.
think one of the big benefits with that is sometimes you're running around and you're like, oh, my slingshot just broke. My fishing rod just broke. I really need it because that's what I was wanting to do right now.
Yes.
And so then you run all the way back to maybe resident services is the only place where you have a thing. Maybe in front of your house you left a crafting table, but you have to run to whatever that location is, which is kind of out of the way of what you were doing,
Yes.
So I have now started like thinking, okay, I think I'm going to make some crafting areas. I'm definitely going to use my villagers' homes as kind of checkpoints where they can be crafting areas. That's kind of what I'm referring to them as,
Oh,
checkpoints.
nice.
So, but also like it gives you something to decorate for them,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm planning on like crafting a bunch of like simple crafting benches for things and just putting them outside of villagers' homes and making it kind of like personalizing it for them,
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Yes.
because one, I feel like it is cool to have in their yard, and then two, it's just convenient as well.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
Yeah. And the last place, I put one just outside of my campsite because I've been scanning in Amiibo and they actually teach you a DIY recipe with each visit and they ask you to craft it for them. And then I put a crafting bench right outside of there because I knew I was going to craft it for them right after.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, that one's been really helpful because I can just walk outside, craft it, and we're good.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah. So what's your first tip and trick?
Okay, the first one, it might be a little bit controversial. It's more of a recommendation based on my play experience, and mostly I'm referring to my playthrough of New Leaf. And back then, honestly, I got very rich very quickly because of turnips and especially because of having an extra town dedicated to perfect fruit. And then, once in a while, the perfect fruit would be the extra item or the hot item as we know them now. And I became rich like you have no idea. It I say bad, but it was so bad that basically I could pay anything for any day. Like any day, no question, I could just expand my home or pay for a bridge or a public work project. Like no question, I had the money to do whatever I wanted. Even for buying items for the catalog, I would just buy everything, no matter what. Like I don't know if I own this or not, or what do I want? What do I want out of these two items? I'll just buy both. It got bad. So I know there's really no wrong way to play Animal Crossing, but I just wanted to share my experience because it might encourage some people to play a little bit differently than what we have seen. A lot of people are really getting into turnips, and since everything is so connected nowadays, we have our Discord, and it's so easy to go buy turnips when the prices are low, and then to go sell them when the prices are high. It's very easy to get rich, and you may want to hold off because you may want the game to last a little bit longer. If we get too rich, it might, take some of the interest away. I kind of think of it like, how is it in real life? If we had unlimited money, we could buy anything we wanted. A lot of things wouldn't be as interesting as they are, or as challenging, or it would take a lot of the hard work away. So, something to consider. Like I said, it's no wrong way to play. If you still want to go for the money, go for it. I mean, it's however you want to play, but it's just something to consider.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that too. I think none of these Animal Crossing games are ever going to capture that first one where it was truly a struggle for money. There were so few ways to really strike it rich in the first Animal Crossing outside of just literally grinding fish like crazy. I mean, there was a little bit of a way to grind it, and it always revolves around an island for some reason. But there was a way to use like the GBA and basically get tons of money for doing some stuff on there.
Yes.
But yeah, really, like, getting rich is pretty easy in this game. And one thing that I really enjoy, I mean, I'm playing the stock market now. I definitely went crazy last week, and I went even crazier this week. I'm probably going to take it easy after this one, though, and just kind of, like, struggle for a bit. But I did really like the initial days of my playthrough after, like, last week, I spent all 400,000 bells of my money on turnips. And after that, I was just like, I can't build anything. I can't do anything. I set up a bridge and it literally sat there for like 3 days before I had the money to pay it
Oh,
off.
right,
And
right.
so, yeah. And then I was like, did I mind that too much? Not really. I thought it was kind of fun seeing how much like my villagers contributed and how much I would have to pay in the end, you know? And so,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I like the don't get rich too quick thing because having a little bit of a limit makes things like options, you know. I've been watching Jackie play and I really like when she's like, oh, I can't afford this. But she's like, I can afford one thing and I want
Yeah.
these two. I've got to pick which one I want, you know?
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun, you know? It's fun seeing that struggle in a game. And
Yes.
you know, there are people who are like, oh no, I don't want that struggle at all. And that's fine. Like, get rich if you want, like that. But at the same time, I'm just like, no, for me, I really like having stuff to go back to a little bit later. Just like you mentioned
Oh
with
yeah. Yeah.
the autumn event, or not the autumn, the spring event going on right now. So
Yes. Hmm.
yeah. Cool. So I guess my next tip is, oh man, what did I wrote this really weird. Oh, okay. No, I totally know what I mean now. So terraform some fun land bridges or rock hoppers. I call them rock hoppers to
Oh, nice.
easily cross rivers and save on bridge capacity. So if you don't know, you can unlock terraforming in this game. You can essentially build cliffs and rivers and have a lot of control over the terrain in your town. And I accidentally did something that allowed me to like hop across a waterfall. And then I
Yes.
was like, this looks awesome. I am gonna like, not only does it look really cool as a feature, but it's also really helpful because you can now hop across little sections that don't have bridges and kind of just like, I can't fit a bridge there even if I tried. So it's
Ah,
kind of
yeah.
helpful to put it in those spots where I can't exactly have a bridge. And so one thing I learned recently is that there's a limit to how many bridges and inclines that you can build. So
Right.
to kind of save you from having those issues, you can just make a little land bridge or put a little space in the middle of the river that allows you to jump across. So,
Right. Hmm.
for one, it looks great. For two, it's really helpful to navigate your town.
Yeah, and a lot cheaper, like you said.
Oh, so much cheaper. I know
Yeah.
I spent a lot of money on turnips again, and I know for the first few days I'm not gonna have the money to pay things off. So I'm kind of focused on like destroying things now that I knew I wanted to replace. Like, you know, you replace that original log bridge that you built. You know, I'm gonna be
Yes.
in the
Hmm.
process of that this week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So what's your next tip?
Okay, the next one goes against my first one. Basically, if you do want to get rich, I have an interesting approach to it that I feel like it gets overlooked. And basically, it's getting money by selling the hot items of the day.
Mm.
And it's like a hard working way to make money. You got to put some elbow grease into it because. As far as I know, every hot item that I've seen every day has been something that you can craft. And if you keep playing the game a lot, you know you're going to be hitting the rocks every day, you're going to be chopping wood, you're going to have a lot of supplies in your storage. So this kind of encourages you to craft the item, the hot item of the day, and sell it for double the price. It takes time, it takes a lot of crafting, it takes a lot of having materials in your storage. But you know, it's a nice way to make money if you really need it, if you want to pay for a bridge or an incline by the deadline. This is a good approach. Once in a while, you get a hot item that sells for a lot. So, you know, it's going to take a little more extra time to get the materials and to be crafting back and forth and filling your inventory and then going to Timmy and Tommy. It takes time, it takes effort, but I feel like it's maybe a more honest way of making money instead of just selling turnips at the right time, you know?
Hmm.
You got to put work into this one, but it's a different way to make good bells.
Yeah, yeah. I like that because it kind of makes me feel like that's kind of like a job that people have where they're just like
Yeah.
making things and then selling them. So this feels like
Yeah.
it really takes on that like crafting role as a job for sure. And
Yes.
I that's exciting. That's a cool way to earn money and make some more some extra bells here and there.
Yeah.
Cool. My next tip is to best friend some people. And, best friend people that you can trust aren't going to destroy your island when they visit. Um,
Yes.
but if you best friend them, you can send some morning messages, and this will go against Sergio's. But you can message them on Sunday, ask for the turnip prices, and then I sent a mass message today to everybody who was online this morning, and I was like, "Turnip prices? What are they?" And I sent that even before I had found Daisy May in my town, so I had to run around to get my turnip price for everyone too. And then the other thing you can do is just kind of message people daily and ask what their turnip price is. And a pro tip, because a lot of people don't know this, and it's not something that I feel like this is an easily overlooked piece of information if you find it,
Mm.
but there are AM prices and PM prices. So before noon in Animal Crossing, you're gonna have a different turnip price than afternoon. So yeah,
Yes.
be on the lookout for the both prices, because if you really get into it, you want to track what type of trend you're having in the stock market each week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your next tip?
The next one is to do a little bit of everything every day. And going back to my playthrough in New Leaf, there were definitely some aspects that I basically overlooked. I did them a couple of times when they were new, and oh, this is cool. Maybe I'll do it again some other day. And I never really did. Mostly for sure the Dream Suite and the Island minigames. I didn't even do those that many times. So in New Horizons, my approach is to do everything, a little bit of everything every day. I'm catching bugs, I'm fishing, I'm even digging up the clams. I feel like those are easily overlooked, but it's something different to do. You get some fish bait out of it too, and it's very nice that the Nook Miles Plus really encourage you to do a lot of different things. I feel like they could do a little bit more, like they could be Nook Miles Plus for digging up those clams that I mentioned. They could add more in the future, which would be nice. But just encouraging everyone to do a little bit every day. It's very relaxing, just do whatever you feel like doing. And it does get you to some Nook Miles tiers later on in the game.
Hmm.
Eventually, before you even know it, you're gonna catch like 500 fish or something, and you're gonna unlock a lot of Nook Miles without even really aiming for it or expecting it. So just do whatever you feel like, change it up. It's nice and relaxing.
Yeah, and you know what? I want to also say, like, that Nook Miles tracker, like, you could just scroll through that and see what types of activities go toward your Nook Miles.
Yes,
And
definitely.
then that's just a good way to kind of, like, get a feel for all the different activities that you can do in the game.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
Mm.
So my next one is check inside of villagers' homes. Whenever they're inside, there's a chance that they're crafting something. And if they're crafting something, talk to them, because you can ask them what they're doing and then they'll tell you what they're crafting and provide you with a recipe for it. Sometimes
Yes.
it's something you already know, other times it's something new, but either way, you have a nice recipe, whether it's to share it with somebody or learn it yourself. So it's worth going into villagers' homes to talk to them.
Yes. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I've really liked that. I love now every time I walk by a villager's place and they're in it, I go and check it out.
And I love the animation of them working because they're so into it. They're really, really working at it.
Oh yeah, they are hard at work when
Yes.
you find them. It's great.
Yeah.
So what's your next one?
The next one for me, it's to let villagers go. And again, I remember one time, Chuy, I talked to you. I want to get to know more villagers. What's a good approach? And honestly, the best way is to live with them. And the only way to change the villagers you live with is to let the ones that you have to go away. It's
Yeah.
not a nice feeling sometimes. We've all gone through the crashing, of losing our best friend, sometimes without really having a choice in the matter. But it's always an opening to meet somebody new, make a new friend, or maybe a new rival, which is also a nice thing to have. So my approach in New Horizons, and something you might want to consider for our listeners, if a villager wants to move out, maybe they have a good reason for it, and maybe it's time to say go ahead. And honestly, between me typing these notes and us recording, Cleo the horse, she asked me if I thought she should move out, and I said, go with your heart, and she is moving out. So yeah, interesting. I have my first one that I had to say yes to. There's some that are going to be more difficult than others, but like I said, it's a nice way to meet new villagers and make new friends.
Yeah, well, that's really awesome. I personally really like it too. I like getting a nice mix of villagers in and out of my island. My old towns, I always kind of, yeah, sometimes I'd say no, but then if they asked again, I'd be like, all right, it seems like you really want
Yeah.
to go, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, I agree. It's good to let the villagers go and just find some new ones. It's nice to meet them all and see which ones you like. Because sometimes,
Yes.
I don't know, New Leaf for me, it just got to the point where every town I visited had the same group of like 20 villagers to choose from. And everybody had all of these villagers. And I was just like, oh, I want to see something different, you know?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Cool. So my next one is that you can take a before photo of your map before terraforming major portions of the land, or if you're like me, before you terraform anything at all. So I took a before photo of my map and I posted it up on Twitter along with my after photo, so you can kind of see like how I've changed my landscape dramatically in Haken.
Oh.
And so no, it's mostly just to like, keep a nice little record of my town and how it was before versus how it is now, you know?
Yeah, that's true. That's a nice, neat little recommendation there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, the screenshots are so easy to take. It's worth getting plenty of them as you play the game. And if you hold down the screenshot button for a little bit, you can also record a little portion too. So that's pretty
Yes.
nice.
Hmm. Nice. So, next tip from me is something that we mentioned last week about using an external keyboard if you're playing the game on a dock with your Switch in the dock mode. There are some keyboards that don't have the numeric pad on the side, so they're a little not as bulky, and those are very nice to have. There's even a keyboard that kind of has the where you put the Joy-Cons on the sides of it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's very, very small, very compact. It works really well. My only problem with it is that you kind of need to do a funky finger motion with to press an apostrophe, and I kind
Oh.
of yeah, I want to have it just a dedicated key for that. But it works very well, and there are a lot of compact keyboards out there, very cheap, so it's very nice for typing messages, bulletin boards, and letters to your friends.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have not tried using a keyboard yet, but I every time I have to type something, I'm like, man, I wish I had a keyboard.
Yeah.
I could, but yeah, I just haven't gotten to try it yet. Cool. So my next one is buy multiple pieces of some clothing items you like in case you plan on saving it in your wand. So I was playing with the wand feature and I noticed that when you save a clothing item in it, it leaves your closet entirely and it's in the wand. And I'm like,
Oh.
oh, I kind of actually still want to be able to mix and match this piece with some other outfits when I want to, you know? So,
Yeah.
if there's something you really like to like wear with a lot of different things, get another one of it in case you want to save it in an outfit one day. So, yeah, that's my tip.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, what's your next one?
Next one for me is to claim the Nook Miles Plus as soon as you get them. And it's nice that you do get a little notification with the HT Rumble. The game is telling you, hey, you unlock something. And the reason we say that is because when you unlock it, something else pops up that you can do. And, the sooner you unlock it, the sooner that other challenge is presented to you so you can try something else. And if you don't, you might be doing something that could be earning you miles, but you haven't claimed them yet, so it's not unlocked. So just every time you unlock something or you clear a condition, claim the Nook miles.
Yeah, yeah, I found that very helpful too. Just because sometimes I'll do one really late, and I'm like, oh man, the one that just popped up, I could have been doing this whole time because I
Yeah,
already was working on that.
yeah,
Yeah, so no, it's worth it to just claim them right away.
yes.
Cool. So my next one is just a tip about like how much you can do at once, but you can sell some land, move a building, build a bridge or incline, and upgrade your house all at the same time.
Oh wow.
And the upgrade can be either, actually adding a room or just making some sort of like change to it, which
Yes.
at some point in the game you get the ability to do that. But yeah, you can do all of those things at once. If you are moving a building though, and you want to move your house, you're not going to be able to. They're going to be busy with moving a building.
Oh right,
And
right.
the building can be either a resident or a shop, or the museum or campsite. I guess there are a
Oh,
lot
that's
of
right.
different types of buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the other day I was doing all of them, so I literally could not talk to Tom Nook anymore because he was like, "I can't do anything for you.
Yeah.
I'm doing everything literally possible, all in one day."
Nice.
Yeah. So what's your next one?
The next one, if you're running low on the stone material, you may want to go on a Nook Mile store and just crack them open. Eat some of the coconuts there or of your native fruit if there are some trees there. Or, like Chewy said, just bring some extra eggs, like the fish eggs or the wood eggs that we have so many of, and just crack the rock after you get the supplies out of it. You get one extra stone per rock. It's maybe not much, but if you go on a tour, there's maybe, I don't know, 5 rocks or 5 stones. And then once per day, if you're not very like in love with the location of your rocks in your island, maybe you want to crack one per day so it respawns somewhere else and you get 1 stone per day.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
I know I have some rocks that are kind of spawned in very weird spots, and so I'm planning on moving, just destroying them and seeing where else they'll pop up. Especially
Yeah.
because, like, all of mine, funny enough, they spawned in I guess I call it the beginner area, essentially the area of town that you could reach at the very beginning of the game.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, so like all of my rocks spawned in that area. When I finally explored other places, I was like, are there no rocks anywhere else? And there aren't in my
Oh,
town.
wow.
They're all still like lumped in that spot. And
Yeah.
I've broken a couple, but they just spawned again in that same area.
Oh.
Yeah, it's weird.
Uh,
Cool. So I guess my next one is, sorry, I should have been keeping track of where I was on them. Oh, here it is. Try to have a day where there is nothing major to announce. If Isabel says there's like not too much going on, she will give you a special crafting recipe on that day. So
oh, yeah.
there is a nice little way that they fill in the time, or fill in the announcements by just giving you a little gift,
Yes.
Yeah. So I've gotten 2 recipes that way, and it's cool. I got a really exciting one that I was looking for.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So what's your next one? And I think this is your last, maybe?
Yeah, that it's the last one. And basically, don't think too much about the way you play this game. And that's something I was doing. I know some people really like to plan things out, and that's fine if you can. If that's the way you want to play, for sure, go for it. But I was struggling with that, and I was trying to think of like having a daily routine, like a very specific. I'm gonna do this first, and then this, and then this, and then I realized it's not as fun that way. At least it wasn't for me. So right now, I'm just doing whatever I'm in the mood for. If maybe one day I don't chop like every single tree for all the wood that I can get, maybe that's fine as long as I have enough in storage, and for the most part, I do have enough. So I just go with the flow, and I feel like I'm having more fun this way, and it's definitely a lot more relaxing.
Yeah, I agree. I have not like kept a routine in this game at all yet.
Right.
I have sort of one where I'll do some stuff all the time, but really, I'm not like too attached to any one routine that I have, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, I like to change it up. And it's been nice. It's been a nice way to approach the game.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. So I have a couple more. I had a couple more than you, I guess.
Yes.
So the first, these two are pretty quick ones. One is put some trash on the ground and just see what happens. This can be a tire, a tin can, a boot. Just leave it there, and check back on it here and there and see what happens.
Yeah.
The next one is hold on to one little bundle of turnips. So they come in bundles of 10. So hold on to one bundle of 10 and let it rot next Sunday. And then put that on the ground and see what happens as well.
Yes.
Those are my tips. My last couple of tips. So Sergio, I mean, we've been going long on all of these episodes because obviously there's a lot to say all the time about this game, but it wouldn't be a show without Haken's Islander Corner. So, for those of you who don't know, Haken's Islander Corner is when we ask our patrons on Patreon a question and read some of their answers aloud here. This week's question was, what is your favorite hourly track in the game so far? And Sergio, I actually want to ask you this one too.
Oh, well, mine, it's very hard to choose, but right now my favorite is 10 a.m. And only because it kind of has this part that reminds me. It sounds to me like it's from like a 90s sitcom TV show. It's not much of it, but it's just enough to like remind me of those, and I'm like, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that one's cool. I also, before I answer, I also had kind of a follow-up question, but have you heard all of the hourly tracks yet?
No, not yet. I haven't heard midnight, 1 a.m., or 2 a.m. The rest I have.
Okay, so you've heard quite a few. I asked you this a little bit earlier in the week because I was wondering.
Yes.
Because I hadn't heard essentially 2 a.m. through 6 a.m. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 5 tracks that I hadn't heard. Those hours don't exist, really. I'm pretty sure they just don't happen ever. So that's why I haven't heard them. But I will say I actually have heard them now because I was like, you know what? I know I'm never going to listen to these. Not like I'm never going to listen to them at all, but it's more of like, I know I'm never going to be awake during that time to actually hear it. And so I was like, you know what? Let's just go hear what they're like. And 3 a.m. is strange, and I love it.
Yes.
I love how weird it is. But yeah, no, there are a lot of tracks that I really like. I think my favorite right now is actually 3 p.m. I guess the threes really have me these days.
Oh.
3 a.m. I really like because it's strange, and 3 p.m. I really like because it has like a trumpet playing during it.
Yes.
And it's really cool. I really like that option. Because the other instrument that they have is, it sounds kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Not like a MIDI kind of thing, but a little keyboard
like a synth? Or...
Yeah, like a synthy type of thing that's got a funky effect going on
yes,
it. You know?
Yes, it does, yeah.
But yeah, they use that pretty heavily throughout a lot of the soundtrack. But this one was like, oh, they're using a trumpet, and the instruments feel a little bit more natural, you know?
Yeah.
So I like 3 p.m. because of that.
Oh, nice.
Cool. So, like I said, we're going to read some of our Haken Islander answers here. Sergio, let's go back and forth. Do you want to start?
Sure. The first answer this week is by Bothy, and they say 6 p.m. It sounds like a bonus track from Wild World. Yes, this was one of the very first ones that I heard by visiting someone. 6 p.m. sounds really, really nice.
Yeah, that one's really cool. Some of the later afternoon ones are really fun for me. I like them a lot. Cool. So Tony Brinkhurst said, 1 a.m. It's like 5 p.m. slower and more chilled out. I'm assuming they mean 5 p.m. from this game. And yeah, I guess it seems like it's probably a lot like 5 p.m., but just like much slower.
I like 5 p.m. a lot. I want to wake up at 1 a.m. one of these days somehow to hear this one.
Yeah, 5 p.m. is a really great one. That's another one of my
Yes.
favorites.
And Lily answered and they said 5 p.m. is a bop. And like we just said, yeah, this is very true. It's really, really nice.
Yeah, that one's a fun one. I think a lot of people are going to like that one. And 5 p.m. in New Leaf was like my favorite that game
Yes.
too. So they keep nailing it with the 5 p.m. tracks.
Yeah.
So Grace, or a penguin named Abraham, said, I love 8 a.m. It's so different to what we've got in previous games. So jazzy and fun. Plus, it's usually the first track I hear every day. This one, and I made a little note here. This one is popular. I saw a lot of people say that they like this one. And this one's actually one of the first tracks they showed us in a more complete form.
Correct.
Yeah, the Nintendo Power Podcast, which is the official Nintendo podcast, they, at the end of an episode, shortly after the Direct, where they talked about Animal Crossing New Horizons, finally, I've been waiting forever for them to do that. But at the end of the episode, they had this song at the end, and it was great. I listened to it a bunch when it was out.
Yeah, and it's definitely popular. I mean, the Tom Nook's Cranny, the store opens at 8 a.m. So a lot of people start playing at that, or they begin playing again at that specific hour, and we hear the music, and it's very well done. It's like they know. It's like they know for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It's the time to log in.
Yeah. So Valerie Fix said 2 a.m. is romantic. And that word, 2 a.m. in romantic, I want to hear it. I really do.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I went through and listened to a lot of them, but I don't remember them too much. So, because it's harder to remember the ones that you don't actually like play through for the hour.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I want to go back and listen to some of these on repeat. I want to check if the Chrome app has updated with the New Horizons music, so I can hear them more.
Yeah.
So I'm going to check that after this show. So Tiger Cookie said, I'm going to go with 3 a.m. with the duck quaking or quacking just to mock you for staying up so late. And yeah, 3 a.m. Sergio, that one's a weird one.
Yes, it is.
I'm so into it. I love the weird ones. It's one of those that's just like a real funky tune for the game.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Nice. So, Catherine said, so far I would say that 5 a.m. is my favorite track. There's something about it that feels sentimental and maybe even a bit nostalgic. I love the lower pace of the song and the softness of the piano. It reminds me of those days when you wake up as the sun is just starting to rise and the world around you is quiet and peaceful. Definitely. And a lot of us have been also starting to play the game at 5 a.m. when the day resets, basically. And yeah, that's the first song we'd hear every day, and it's very nice.
Yeah, I'm never going to hear 5 a.m. Once again, that hour does not exist. Okay, cool. So the next answer was from Leah J. Jens, and they said, I like 10 p.m. It's so relaxing, and usually when I'm getting ready for my last fill of fish and bugs for the night. I love that, like just having a little closing song for you whenever you're playing,
Yes.
It's nice. Like after a whole full day of playing the game, you just have that one track that settles you down and finishes everything.
Yeah, definitely. And you can definitely hear a progression, at least between 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. It's a lot, maybe darker or a lot more, it's getting late type of feeling. They definitely do have a progression between the hours of those, for sure.
Yeah.
And our last answer for this week is by Miss Alice, and they said, I really can't choose. They all have such a unique and spunky tune. That's a good point. They're very different.
Yeah, and I put that one in just because, a lot of people are just gonna enjoy a lot of the new hourly music and a lot of the new sounds in the game. So, yeah, I figure for everybody who's just enjoying it, enjoying the soundtrack, having a good time, that answer was for all of you.
Yeah, and I feel like our favorites are gonna change over time once we kind of settle in into the hours that we play at, or we're definitely gonna change our favorites, I think.
Yeah, it's funny too, because I know Jackie's comment is, oh, she's like, oh, this song again. I guess I always check in at this time. And she actually kind of wishes that she can like swap around the hourly music and hear different
Oh,
tracks. But it's probably never going to work that way, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, for now, she has figured out her little schedule for playing and checking in on Animal Crossing.
yeah.
Yeah, which is funny.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun when people notice that. So, yeah. Anyways, fun show and another little long one for all of you. It's probably going to continue like this while we're still getting a lot with this game.
Yes.
We'll see when it slows down, but for the next year or so, I don't see it
Yeah.
slowing down. There's always going to be some new stuff to talk about, especially with like the regular updates. Probably pretty soon.
Yeah.
We're going to start hearing more about the Earth Day update that's going to add Leaf. So we'll be here. We'll be covering it and telling you all what's going on with it. And yeah, it should be a fun one. I'm excited to see Leaf. He's my
Yes.
friend. Cool. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in to this episode of Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast. Don't want the episode to end? Well, you can keep the conversation going by Nintendo switching over to our Discord. Just follow the link in the description, and you can talk with other people who love Animal Crossing as much as you do, including Sergio and me. And right now, so many people are playing together and having a good time, so it's a great time to get into that Discord. And like I said, it's completely free. I know somebody asked how much, or if you needed to be a patron. You don't. So you can join anytime. But if you do want to support the show in a bigger way and get your voice heard during the show, visit patreon.com/ChewiePlaysNintendo. You can support our show with just $1, get special access to a secret room on Discord, join in on the Haken Islander Corner, and even read a monthly newsletter covering all things Haken and Chewie Plays. We really appreciate the support and put your money towards some great things on the show. Tuned in on YouTube, the comments are a great place to let us know your answers to the Haken Islander Corner. What is your favorite hourly track in the game so far? If you dig what you hear, please KK slide over to that review section on your platform of choice. Let people know what they're missing out on. Haken is a wild production brought to you by Chewie, Sergio, and all of our patrons. We thank you for listening, and we hope you have a great week.
Goodbye, everybody.